Welcome to the East Bank Sports Show, proudly brought to you by the Fanatical Elves, a member of the Fans First Sports Network. Broadcasting live from the vibrant East Bank of the Flats in Cleveland, Ohio. Join us as we delve into the heart of Cleveland sports. It's your hosts, Noah and Matt.
Cleveland, welcome back to the East Bank Sports Show, the Cleveland Sports Show, made in Cleveland, for Cleveland, where we talk about Cleveland. I'm here with my boy, Matt. Matt, what's up?
How we doing today?
We're doing good, man. It is Victory Monday, the first of two that we've had this season, but there's an energy around this Cleveland Browns team that feels just a little bit different after that victory. And we'll get into that in 1 second. I wanted to talk about something that broke right before we went live. Destination Cleveland, I believe it was Destination Cleveland, it might be called Visit Cleveland, regardless, showed the renderings that the city made for a domed stadium where Burke Lakefront Airport is. Now, obviously, the Haslams are pushing hard to just go straight to Brook Park, but I want to talk about these for a second because I'm going to show the pictures for our viewers who get to watch, from home and don't listen to the audio. I apologize. Make sure you go look it up. NEO Transit Blog broke it first, so you can see the images there. Support them. They're a local, small, article-based print company. First picture, Matt, look at this. This is the area where Burke Lakefront Airport is now. A beautiful dome stadium, same effect of what we were looking at, in terms of the Brook Park location. What do you think of this, man?
I mean, I love it. I've been a diehard keep the team downtown guy, so anything for that, I'm obviously a fan of. I think this looks super clean, super nice. A bit unrealistic and over the top, I think, but
I am a big fan of this, and I'm going to show the other picture now as to why I am. So if you see what they got going on here, they've done some reconstruction. They keep the Muni lot as a main part of what they got going on in terms of the stadium. This is an overhead view of everything. It adds shopping centers. It adds, more parking, garages, hotels, that kind of stuff. All this stuff that should really be where Burke is right now. I just thought it would be interesting to talk about that real quick because I would 100% be in favor of the Burke renovation plan over going to Brook Park. I keep messing up because I keep saying these B's, Burke and Brook Park, and I want to say the right one every time. Regardless, though, I just wanted to talk about that real quick. I think it looks beautiful. I actually like that stadium design from the outside, at least, more than the one that they have in Brook Park. But I'm all in favor for a glass domed, outdoor but indoor feeling stadium, like I've said on previous shows, kind of like what they got going on in Minnesota. Tim Lyon said, "Guess I'll leave. I'd be worried about parking, LOL." Well, that's always been a problem with the stadium, so hopefully the garage they had in that rendering was great. That's all fine and dandy. Let's go move into what we got going on next. Matt, let's talk about that win. Tim does not know what a win feels like right now because he lost, but we have a win, and I would love to talk about it for the first time, since week 2. So what are your biggest takeaways? I got some stats and stuff I want to bring up. What are you feeling? What are you thinking after the Browns beat the Ravens with minutes to spare on the clock?
I think it's pretty much perfectly summed up by a phone call I had with my boss before the game started. We were just, talking about how the game was going to go and all that. And I said, no matter what happens today, it's a problem for Cleveland football.
Why is that?
Say we run out there and get blown out like we've done all year. Then it's like, oh, okay, well, clearly Deshaun wasn't the problem. Let's go find the problem. It's got to be, coaching, upper office, somewhere like that. That's not the case, though. Obviously, we go out there and we beat the Ravens. We look like a competent football team, a championship caliber football team. And so now the problem is sitting here of why have we been stuck with this atrocity that they want to call professional football for the first half of the season?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. This is the stat that I think sums up your sentiment and what you're saying right now. Deshaun Watson all season, completions on throws of 15-plus yards. Deshaun Watson all season had 9. Jameis Winston in the one game, including the game-winning touchdown to springing all-star, superstar wide receiver Cedric Tillman. Yes, I'm being hyperbolic right now. He had 8 in just that Ravens game. This offense turned from looking like what they have looked like all season to what they had looked like with Joe Flacco at the helm last year. And you can say some of that's probably the play calling or whatever. To me personally, Matt, and I want to hear what you have to say, because you've been even more critical on Stefanski's play calling than me. But to me, I still felt like I was watching a Kevin Stefanski game through and through. Like, I know he wasn't calling the plays, and that helped with, the false starts and the play clock winding down and that kind of thing. And I'm here for it. I think it makes more sense to have Stefanski just let him be the GM of the football side. You know what I mean? But I felt like I was still watching a Kevin Stefanski called game at the end of the day. What about you?
I mean, I absolutely did. But I also felt like there were a lot less moments where I was, going, what are we thinking with that play call? I didn't have nearly as many of those moments, I feel like. And I think the other thing too to, kind of account for there is it's his first week calling plays for us. He's probably, on a super tight leash, not super comfortable with what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So I think, assuming we continue with that, which I don't see why we wouldn't, I think he's going to get more and more comfortable in that role in Cleveland, because I know he's had it before. And it's only going to get deeper and expand more and, get further from what we're used to this season, I think.
Yeah. I want to break down something real quick for our new franchise quarterback. No, I'm being hyperbolic right now. I'm just happy we got a win. We don't know what we're going to get out of Jameis Winston yet. Let me be serious for a second. I'm happy with how he looked. I'm happy with the play, obviously. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 300 yards. You know what I'm trying to say. Very happy with what he put out on the field. Since 2021, however, due to a torn ACL, broken back, ruptured prenatal tendon, Jameis Winston has had 9 healthy starts. When he is healthy, he is 7-2, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 5-2 with Peyton, 1-0 with Allen, and 1-0 with Stefanski. We might have a guy here, folks. I don't know. I just like that homer stat. I wanted to bring it up for a second. One last thing I want to talk about before we cut to break, come back, and then talk about Andrew Berry as a drafter. Let me pull this up real quick. Bet Jack posted a day. If Jameis Winston was the week 1 starter, the Browns' record today would be what? Matt, I asked you the question. Do tell.
I think we'd be a 1-loss football team. I really do.
And the loss coming from?
Week 1 to the Cowboys still.
So I am at, what are we, 2-6 right now? I think we take the Cincinnati game last week just because of how they were playing, not because of anything else. Sorry, Tim, if you're still in the chat. I think we take the Giants game for sure. So that puts us at, 4-4 already? And then you give us, either the Commanders or the Raiders game, 5-3 realistically, 6-2. I mean, you're flipping the script if he plays at this level. Honest, this is overreaction Monday, as Pat McAfee likes to call it. So we're basing this off of a 3-touchdown, 300-yard game from a quarterback who has been a career backup since Tampa Bay. So you never know, but just knowing what we know about this offense at this point and knowing what we know about the quarterbacks that thrive in this offense, Jameis Winston seems to be the key fit that we should have been playing all along, despite all the semantics of Deshaun Watson being a highly paid quarterback who was brought in to be a franchise. And you want to see DTR develop, which I'm still in favor of, especially if they drop, 2 or 3 more games in the next 6-game span. The season's punted at that point. If they hit a point where they're going to be below 500 no matter what, I want to see DTR the rest of the season. How do you feel about that, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I still am to the point of, playoffs are a very, very long shot. So at that point, the only thing you're playing for is the draft in the future. Even with Jameis's success, on Sunday. I still think it should be DTR out there this week. I know it won't happen, but
Yeah, they did announce that it would be DTR, or it would be Jameis Winston no matter what starting the game on Sunday in Cleveland, 1 p.m. Chargers. You think they beat the Chargers? The Chargers have been shaky this year.
I mean, off that Jameis performance, you kind of have to say they do. But
The Chargers
the
right
other
now are
thing,
4-3. You know, they have a winning record. They do have Justin Herbert, have been doing some of the rebuilding moves, though. First year head coach, well, not first year head coach, but you know what I mean with Harbaugh. First year as the head coach of the Chargers, first year back in the NFL. I could see him win. I'm going to look at what the spread is real quick if they have it posted already. What were you about to say, Matt?
I mean, I think the one thing that I think a lot of Cleveland fans are just blowing over, and it's important, is the fact of, I mean, how many dropped picks did Jameis have? And again, I mean,
Between
you have to
3 and
catch
7.
I mean, you have to catch the ball to record the pick. I mean, it's part of the game to drop them, and there's significant weight to the whole Jameis throws a unique spiral to be harder to pick off for defenses story. So, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
there's a little bit to that, but
Yeah.
I think Kyle Hamilton picks that ball off and a couple others go the other way. We're sitting here in a much different conversation, that's for sure.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second because the same thing could be said about Lamar. He had 3 or 4 up there that, guys like Denzel Ward, who are good for an interception, even dropped. So you really never know what's going to happen for sure. The stats are the stats at the end of the day. The Browns go in still 2.5-point underdogs to the Chargers in Cleveland. Honestly, I like that money line and a little parlay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving betting advice on the Browns again for a while, not until they at least hit 500. But if you're feeling like a homer, you want to put a little 3-legger in and ride your boys in the orange and brown, I would definitely add that money line at plus 112 right now. That's just me. Matt, I'm going to take us to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the main man, Andrew Berry, and if he's a good drafter or if he is basura. We'll be right back with the East Bank Sports Show after these commercial messages. And we are back with the East Bank Sports Show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Helps us grow the channel here a ton. Makes us grow everything we got going on, especially if you're watching on the Fanatical Elves, our proud partner, our proud affiliate through Fans First Sports. Matt, is Andrew Berry a good drafter? Because I did some research, and Tim's in the chat, and Tim's our local Bengals fan, right? I say local even though he is from the West Coast. He lives in the West Coast. I did some research. I have an interesting opinion here. I want to know what you think, though. Is Andrew Berry a good drafter? Why or why not? Make sure, real quick, just to give a shout out, since some of my data that I am using has been supplied to me by Tim Lyons, guy who watches here a lot, guy who does Running Through the Jungle through Fans First Sports. Make sure you check them out as well. They do a lot of great content. I tune in to my man, Tim, here and there, especially when he posts his little TikToks on Facebook and stuff. Anyway, Matt, what do you think? Andrew Berry, good drafter, bad drafter, okay drafter? Tell me about it.
I think he is a very solid drafter. I don't think he's absolutely elite, but I don't think he's bad either. And I'll die on that hill for sure. I'm not sure that's your take, but if that's where you're coming from, we're about to get hot. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job at taking mid to late round picks and creating impact players with them, finding those late round gems. And I think he's been especially elite in the late second, early third rounds as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I know you had a lot of it pulled up ready to go, and I went through and looked at it as well. But it seems like, third round picks, late second round picks, almost every single one of them here is a hit.
Yeah. So I'm going to go through this, right? So I want to give credit where credit's due, because this topic was the topic I picked. I think it was literally Tuesday after we did the show for this show, because I just assumed we were going to be all doom and gloom and needed something else to talk about. But the Browns won. So I saw this tweet. Shout out Gino DeAndrea at Dog Pound Bound. So I want to give credit where credit's due. He went through and listed every pick that the Cleveland Browns have made since Andrew Berry has taken over as GM and rated it a hit, a miss, an average. So like average for, where you're taking that player, or TBD. So I had Tim do the same thing for me because, it was someone else's opinion. I tweaked his list a little bit, not Tim's, but the guy that I stole it from. His list because I thought he was being a little too harsh. Like he called Cedric Tillman a miss, and then Cedric Tillman had a great game on Sunday. But I had Tim go do the same thing for the Cincinnati Bengals. A division rival, a Super Bowl appearance, kind of, honestly, better franchise than us, if you look at it, right? You look at it. So I wanted to compare to something close, but, not like San Francisco, for example, or something like that, where they got lucky with Brock Purdy at Mr. Irrelevant. Regardless, if you go through my list, I think Andrew Berry had 10 hits, 15 misses, 2 averages, and 4 TBDs. Your 4 TBDs being Luke Whippler, DTR, Isaiah McGuire, Cedric Tillman. Tillman, I would put at like average at this point, maybe, but I'm going to leave him at TBD right now. 2 good games back to back doesn't mean anything to me. If you go through Tim's list, Tim has put the Cincinnati Bengals at 6 hits, 21 misses, 11 averages, 1 TBD. So you can be as critical about Andrew Berry as you want. Yes, he has not hit on every single pick he's made. No GM has, and I feel like that's the expectation for him sometimes, is that he's going to hit on everything. He has gotten us good value in the rounds between 2 and 5 consistently without a first-round pick. The fact that we have added a starter to this roster through every single year of the Deshaun Watson mistake shows to me that he knows what he's doing for the most part. After what I saw yesterday, I am back on the train of you keep Andrew Berry, you keep Kevin Stefanski, and you move forward that way, keeping the brain trust intact and moving forward. You're allowed to have mistakes in the NFL. Jesus, everyone does. The Pittsburgh Steelers are playing great football right now. They drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round. They're not firing and blowing up and starting over and all that. I mean, they're doing some different things now, but you get what I'm saying. Matt, do you agree with me? I mean, I feel like you agree with me, but give me some more.
The one thing, just to kind of flip the script, I do absolutely agree with you on, where you're getting. It's so hard to hit in the draft. I mean, you see misses every year from people that are unanimous, hits, and they just turn out to bust. It happens every year.
Yeah.
Just to kind of flip it, though, and, granted, in Cleveland, it's not a super long history given, the recent Deshaun Watson debacle, but I am kind of concerned about his round 1 drafting ability.
Yeah, I mean, that you're playing good devil's advocate. I mean, Jedrick Wills' first pick he's ever made, I called that a miss in my mock because I don't want to even see him on the field again. I'd rather go through high effort, sometimes mistakes with DeJuan Jones at left tackle than piss poor effort, great ability somewhere in there with Jedrick Wills. Continue. I agree, though. First round ability, questionable right now.
But I mean, even trying to sit here and say that when you take into account what you just brought up of being able to go through every year you have down here and say there's at least one starter, and even going further than that, I think you can find at least one impact player behind that,
Yeah.
The fact that we're pulling 3+ players a year that can make an impact, and even like Felton being a 7th round, 6th round pick, the impact he's had for us out of that is ridiculous.
No, I agree with you, man. Some of you think DPJ, Nick Harris has played a role as a late round pick. you keep scrolling through. Tony Fields has played some meaningful snaps for this team, even on special teams. You have your misses. You have your Perion Winfreys. You have your Cade Yorks. Don't get me wrong. But through and through, I mean, we had a draft where we took Trent Richardson and Justin Gilbert and Johnny Manziel and Trent Richardson and another. I mean, look at the writing on the wall. We have starters coming out of this draft. Now, this draft is going to be a test of time, or a testament to exactly what Andrew Berry is as a drafter. Because, right now we're sitting at pick 8 after the win. If we continue down the route we are, we end up with the top 10 pick. He's probably going to have to reach at a quarterback, and he's got to figure out what's going to fit in terms of a Kevin Stefanski-led offense. But that's just me. What else do you think, man? I agree with you at the end of the day. First round shaky, overall pretty good. Let's keep the brain trust together.
I mean, I absolutely agree. And I mean, even to pick it a little more and, be whatever you want to call it over the top. If you really look at it, he's had one bad year, I'd say 2 elite years, and then a good year. I didn't really take into account the most recent draft just because it's so hard to judge rookies. Too many question
marks, yeah.
But I mean, 2021 elite draft. You got Newsom and J.O.K. 23, I think that's a very solid draft. 2020 is okay. And then, I mean, 2022, that was a pretty rough draft for him, but he still went 2 for 9. You got Jerome Ford and Martin Emerson out of that draft. Martin Emerson being picked 68.
Right, and he's a starting cornerback in the NFL on, probably all 32 teams, I would argue.
Absolutely.
I mean, without looking at rosters and stuff.
It's hard to say he's anything other than good to great at drafting in my mind after we sit here and break it down more and more.
Yeah, that's the reason I did this exercise, right? Because even when I posted and we're live right now, I had a quote retweet that someone said, me and someone else could do a better job drafting than Andrew Berry. And then you sit down and you look at it and you look at another fan's perspective who's not involved with our team whatsoever and picks off of their team. And we're doing okay. Just everybody needs to relax. I know it sucks, and I know we're all upset because of how the season's going right now. And maybe I'm more optimistic this week because we won a football game against a good football team in division. But let's just take a deep breath on Andrew Berry, too. I think we need to take a deep breath on everything and just see how this season plays out, because I think we have hit a new stride. Not saying it's going to be like a playoff season, but I think we've hit a new stride. Matt, I want to get to the Cleveland Cavaliers because we are 1 week into the season and they are an undefeated basketball team, and I am ecstatic. How are you feeling about the Cavs, man?
I mean, they're going 82-0, hang the banner, plan the parade. I ordered my ring. Should be here in a few months. It's the best team in basketball. You argue with the wall.
Yeah, so this is my thoughts real quick, and we'll wrap it up here, go final thoughts and takes, because, basketball is a long season. There's a lot going on. We're 3 games in. They are 3-0. I love everything I'm seeing out of Kenny Atkinson right now. They're getting Evan Mobley involved as the true number 2 guy he should have been the last couple seasons, feeding that man the ball, letting him become the unicorn he is, and that's in there. He had a fantastic game 1. He had almost 30 points against the Raptors. Donovan Mitchell is still doing his stuff, letting Darius take that backseat role and facilitate. Who cares about the stats and the numbers? Just let this offense run through each other and let the scorer score. High-paced, high-energy basketball compared to what we've seen with JB Bickerstaff. Shout out Bickerstaff. We beat your ass on Friday by 20, I think, actually. But good luck with those boys over in Detroit because you need it. I'm not talking crap. I actually do like Bickerstaff. He did a lot for the organization of the Cavs. But, Detroit is a fun one over there to try to rebuild and retool. That's just me. Matt, anything else Cavaliers? I wanted to give them their shout out, their props. They play tonight against the Knicks, I believe in about an hour from where we're doing this live. at 7:30. And then Wednesday, Lakers, the other undefeated team in the NBA, one of the other undefeated teams in the NBA right now, at home in Cleveland, Wednesday night. Catch your boy on the floor, rebounding balls for contestants on some prop games or whatever. Regardless, Matt, final thoughts and takes. What's your final thought and take?
My final thought and take is if the Browns end up as a top 10 drafter in this year's NFL draft, they should not go quarterback.
I mean, I agree. It depends where you're at and everything. I think going offensive line is a good move here, especially with, Jack Conklin getting older and stuff like that. Is that kind of what you were thinking?
That's kind of where I'm leaning at, yeah.
Okay.
I think
go ahead.
Sorry. I mean, I just think you gotta, with how old our O-line is getting, I think that's it's going to be a bigger need than quarterback very quickly, I think.
Yeah, and, that feeds in perfectly to my final thought and take. Because, I keep it spicy with my final thoughts and takes. They're kind of my reaches, you know what I mean? And my reach is get ready to gear up for Flacco Mania 2.0. It's time to eat a W. It's time to give all the glory to the Lord. And it's time for whatever Jameis Winston saying you want to repeat from the next week and week and week of the NFL season, because I think this is about to be another Flacco Mania run. I think there's going to be people wearing Jameis Winston t-shirts within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because we're on bye. And I think we are going to be rolling and ready and, playing entertaining football. I'm not going to go make an asinine claim that I think this team is making the playoffs or something right now, because we are 2-6 and that is abysmal. But I am saying we're going on Flacco Mania 2.0. We're going Brian Hoyer 3.0, because Flacco Mania was Brian Hoyer 2.0, I guess. That is my hot take for this week. Matt, any last words for the people?
Hope everybody has a great week. Go Cavs.
I do too. And with that being said, thank you for tuning into the East Bank Sports Show. Let us know your thoughts about all our topics in the comments below. Come at us for saying Andrew Berry's a good drafter, because damn it, I think he is. And until next time, Cleveland, have a great night, day, whatever you're at, wherever you're at, rest of your week. Have a great one. Until next time, Cleveland, we'll see you later.